The apes are back. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes picks up 10 years after Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and there's disease going around the world. It's killed off a lot of the population, and, you know, the humans have been fighting each other back and forth, and there's just been a lot of chaos going on. So there's a small establishment of humans that are residing in San Francisco, and the apes, after the events in Rise, have since set up their own establishment where they're learning and teaching each other, and they're having children now, and they have their own little colony going. And once the two learn of each other's existence and their whereabouts, they have to learn to either live in peace or there's going to be conflict. Now I'm just going to say it and get it right out there. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a phenomenal sequel, and I did not see Rise of the Planet of the Apes until a couple of weeks ago, and I just really never was intrigued by the Planet of the Apes films. I've seen a couple of the older ones, and I just didn't have that much interest to see it. Plus, I'm not the biggest fan of James Franco, and I thought James Franco was phenomenal in Rise, so I was super pumped for this sequel, having just seen the first one here a couple of weeks ago, and the film's fantastic. Everything about this film works really well, and one of my favorite things that this film does is it is a completely different tone. Now, I know a lot of people have been making the comparison of the original Star Wars to Empire, and I think it's fair to do so with this film because the tone is very different, and, you know, you're in that same world. You have the characters, all the apes and stuff, but it's a very different feel to it, and I feel they handled it really good in this movie. And what's really interesting about it is in Rise, when you're following more of the humans and their dramatic side of things, this film focuses pretty much solely on the apes. And when you have CGI apes running around that can carry a movie, I think that's pretty impressive because these apes have so much character to them, and you really buy into them and you sympathize with them and you just get invested into them. And I think it's amazing how they did this. And the special effects, once again, are top-notch. Absolutely phenomenal. They look better than they did in Rise, and they look phenomenal in Rise. So effects are great. Everything looks good, and it's super believable. Now, the acting in the film, I didn't really feel there was any acting in the film that really stood out on the human side of the things. You know, I mean, it was good enough to make the movie go. There's one specific scene with Gary Oldman where he really sold it emotionally. But other than that, it was just good acting, good enough to make the story go through. On the ape side of things, we cannot finish this review without talking about Andy Serkis. God, it is unbelievable the life that he breathes into the ape Caesar. It is unbelievable. And now that they got him for Star Wars Episode 7, I'm really excited to see how they're going to utilize him in that because this guy knows how to sell it. And he does the mocap work and does the voice, but his facial features are unbelievable. He just sells it. When you are watching Caesar in this film, he's the lead character, and he's a CGI ape. And Andy Serkis sells it so well, you just buy into everything that Caesar is portraying on the screen, and it's phenomenal. It's absolutely unbelievable how this man can do this with mocap work. It's freaking awesome. Another thing I really loved about this movie is they kept the story really tight and contained in an area. Too many movies these days are trying to end everything with these giant elaborate action sequences where, you know, you're on this global level of destruction and all this stuff going on in buildings crumbling and cities just being destroyed. This film keeps it pretty tight and contained to the same general area that we were in Rise. So I really like how they handled that, and the action sequences in the film were appropriate for the movie. It wasn't just a bunch of big, giant, action, elaborate set pieces to just say, hey, here's a bunch of shit going on. It was very true to the story, and it was needed in order to progress where the story was going. So I really like how they handled the action, and it was really exciting action in this film as well. Apes on horses carrying guns is really badass. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a phenomenal film, and after seeing Rise a couple weeks ago and Dawn today, I want to go back and revisit the old Planet of the Apes movies. These movies got me that excited to where I want to go watch all the other ones just to get all that mythology in my head and just see everything that they've put out there. This has been a phenomenal summer for sequels so far. Captain America: The Winter Soldier was great, 22 Jump Street was great, and now Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was also great. And this sequel was as good, if not better, than Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And if you have not seen either of these films, I would recommend checking them out because I am not the biggest Planet of the Apes fan, and these two films got me super excited to want to go watch all the other ones now. So if you've seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you thought about it, and if you liked it more than Rise. That's all I got to say about the film. Thank you guys for watching. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you all next time.